authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us. From personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation. Good morning, good morning, good morning, tea sippers. Good morning. We are live Friday, October 3rd. Today is Diddy's sentencing, y'all. We have been gearing up for this moment, right? So over the last 2 weeks, we have been putting up look backs on how Diddy got convicted from the beginning of our Tea Talk topics on the diddler, right? So we gone through from the moments of when Diddy was searched and seized, well, his property, because Diddy fled the property, right? And his children were almost seized and things like that. I think Stevie J, so what and so forth. So yeah, we just covered everything from the beginning of from when Diddy was first being sought out to be investigated by Homeland Security, the feds. I don't know about the IRS, but the feds and all of that, right? So I am going to make sure my audio and everything is working. I'm pretty sure today's going to be a long live because I don't know exactly when Diddy's sentencing is going to come down. However, I think it's expected to be around noon. So we are live on Facebook. Let me make sure my audio is working. Exactly when Diddy's sentencing, I think it's expected to be around. Okay, perfect. So let me pin that. Okay, let me check YouTube. Okay. Yes. So, tea sippers, right? We are live on YouTube. Hi, all of our YouTube sippers. Thank you guys so much for sipping tea with Tanisha Talks Teas. And we appreciate all the love and support. We're almost at 500,000 views. That's incredible for 4 months, right? I really, really, really want to thank you guys so much. We've reached our over 1,000 subscribers in 4 months. So thank you guys so much for supporting Tanisha Talks Tea, sipping tea, becoming a tea sipper, dropping your teacups in the chat and letting me know where you are with all the tea that we sip, right? Facebook, we are climbing. Hi, all my Facebookers. I love all my sippers so very much. You guys really show up and show out and support. We're at over 16,000 followers now. I mean, we started about 6 months ago with 4,000 followers, and that was mostly just like people that, I know for the most part, and people that have kind of like, followed. But to grow from 4,000 to 16,000 is incredible. Y'all don't even know like the overwhelming thankfulness that I feel for y'all embracing me in that way. Thank y'all so much. Okay, we are also live on Twitch. Hey, Twitchers, we are twitching on down on the Twitch streets. I really want to thank all of you guys. We are almost 250 followers over there. It's a slow climb on new platforms, and I'm here for the progress, right? So we all know that you don't get anywhere fast, because if you do, you lose it quickly. So I'm here for it. I really, really want to thank everybody on Twitch for following and becoming a tea sipper. We are also live on Kick. Thank you, all my kickers. We are kicking it on Kick. Doing great, loving all of the engagement and just everybody wanting to, see what's going on with my stream, my channel, give like tips and all of these supportive suggestives about how I can improve my channel. So thank you. I hope you guys like some of the changes that we have made to, some of the platforms. We are also monetized on Instagram. So I mean, Instagram is cracking. Like, I get almost 300,000 views on Instagram. I only have 1,200 followers on Instagram, and I'm thinking that's wildly insane that I'm getting so many views. So they gave me some type of monetization, and so we're tapping into learning more about that, right? And I dabble a little bit now on Snapchat. We're the same across all platforms. Tanisha Talks Teas sippers. We are the tea sippers. So same on all platforms. And we are now at like 600 followers on Snapchat. I've been on Snapchat for like maybe a month, a couple weeks, I think, maybe. Anyway, and that's incredible. So I really, really, really want to thank y'all for, embracing me on all platforms. Just, coming over here, sitting at the tea table and sipping tea with Tanisha. So thank y'all so much. We're going to get right into today's show. It's Diddy, right? Diddy is back up. Like I said, I've been gearing my sippers up for the Diddy sentencing. So I was like, how can I get my sippers engaged in, being here for my tea talk about Diddy once his sentencing date approaches? And it's here now. And I want to thank the overwhelming support that I've gotten from all of you guys, just allowing me to look back with you guys on what got Diddy convicted. That has been incredible. So what I'm looking to do right after today, I'm going to keep up with the look back on how Diddy got convicted, what brought him to being convicted, because this is a whole series. We're on like part 26. And so they're hour long, so that, I'm breaking them all down to just about 1 hour for you guys. So, you're not so overwhelmed with like 6 to 8 hour lives on Diddy, because that's how I did the content when Diddy's trial was going on, because it was a very long trial, right? So I'm just breaking those all down into 1 hour increments for you guys to look at in parts. Okay. So what brought Diddy to his conviction, and now it's going to be his sentencing, right? So we're just going to put all of these Diddy parts, series parts, into a playlist on our channel, and also include this live as well for you guys to, enjoy and be entertained by everything that brought the super major billionaire mogul to his knees, essentially, in a trafficking soliciting case. Okay, we're going to jump right into it. So let me share my screen with my sippers and get into Diddy's sentencing. Today is Diddy's sentencing, and he's up for trafficking and soliciting. Alrighty. Okay. So. I always have my fair use disclaimer at the top of the screen on every single show. Okay. So. We're going to tap into the 9 News, their content, if you see so forth fit. Alrighty.
The verdict is in for the high-profile sex trafficking cases against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. He was found guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but was found not guilty on the other charges, including racketeering, which would have carried a max sentence of life in prison. Here to expand a little bit more on that verdict yesterday and what Diddy could be facing at his sentencing is 9 News legal expert Whitney Traylor back with us. Whitney, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, Whitney, as we just mentioned, Diddy was prosecuted on convicted, on those prostitution charges that carry a maximum.
Let me turn off some of my devices, y'all. My stream been working just fine.
Of 20 years, 10 years each.
Yeah.
How much time is he likely to serve?
It's not even connected. It's not even nothing really connected.
Serve, though.
Well, he's definitely not going to get the maximum. And there is the federal sentencing guidelines that the judge has.
We did maximum for Diddy, right? And like, I think each charge, Diddy got maybe 3 charges he was convicted of, y'all. Carries a maximum of 10 years, I think. And I think they're trying to give Diddy at least 10 years on one of those charges. So, and they're saying because Diddy is not a felon, Diddy has no criminal history prior to what he's been convicted of today, that he should be, convicted under the statutes of the guidelines according to his previous criminal history.
Has to essentially comply with, and based on his criminal record, his criminal history, it's likely going to be maybe 2 to 3 years. I know the prosecution is asking for, I think,
now this is
61.
Diddy, right? Diddy's been trying to throw everything at the judge that he can to get out of prison. Well, jail, but in New York, jail is prison. So he is not going to be candid of 2 to 3 years. I'm sure Diddy's looking probably to get time served, because Diddy has been in jail now for over a year, right? I think he went to jail last September, and he's just now being sentenced, which is good for an ex-trafficking trial and all of that stuff that he was doing. Diddy's trial kind of went kind of fast, I think, considering all of the evidence and everything else that could have maybe probably been introduced. But not for nothing, I'm sure my kids are home from school today, y'all, so just please understand there's going to be some noise in the background. However, Diddy, I'm pretty sure that he's looking to get out of jail on something of some time served, looking like, for Diddy.
Months. The defense is suggesting maybe 2 years. And you have to consider he's also going to have his time served. So he's been incarcerated for 9-10 months. The sentencing hearing is going to be in October. So by the time that happens, it's going to be a year. And on these charges, remember, there's no minimum. So he could literally...
So from when this interview was held, Diddy was in jail around 9-10 months. Now it's been about a year today.
Just get probation. Right. Whereas on the racketeering, on the serious charges, which he was found not guilty, there was a minimum of 15 years. Right. So this is, when you look at the big picture, it's a slap on the wrist.
I want to go back and ask you a question that we asked you yesterday.
Blackman said Diddy got a slap on the wrist, y'all. What do y'all think? Drop those teacups down in the chat when you come in the tea room, and gather around the tea table to sip some tea with Tanisha Talks Teas. What do you guys think Diddy got? Do you think he got slapped on the wrist? Do you think he's getting at least some just dues for, all of the bad behaviors that we know Diddy has displayed and should be held accountable for, and then some of the shit that, Diddy has done that he's not even close to being convicted of? Do you think that at least he's getting some time in, the way of justice? Or do you think, he's getting a slap on the wrist, this isn't nothing, he should get more time? Drop that down in the channel. Let me updates on everything Diddy sentencing. Okay, let's get it.
As far as California goes, could these be served concurrently? Do they have to be served consecutively?
Right. That's up to the judge. And the judge will look at a number of different factors. They'll take into account the victim statements. And so I think most experts are saying, yes, we're looking. I even heard an expert this morning.
I don't think that Diddy, also, I'm agreeing with this man, I don't believe Diddy will get probation. Diddy's trial, however, not being what we suspected or expected, rather, to see in the trial, it was not a good look for the diddler. It was actually very, bad, to say the least, on Diddy's behalf, in his character, and just who Diddy is supposed to be as, a black billionaire that rose from the ashes of the concrete jungles of New York, right? The smog, the fog, the hogs, and everything else that are in New York, to be who he is. And then to see him, be such a worm in his actual life, a snake, is pretty, it's not Halloween, Ella. Okay, you still got time. She done jumped out on me in a mask. It's not becoming of someone of Diddy's caliber and stature, right? At least we would like to have hoped not. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case for Diddy. Diddy is a monster in some sorts, a very cruel, evil, benign man that, is very shallow and insensitive and, unbeguiling to what you would think someone that dresses like Diddy and puts on like Diddy. Very high class, very high value. Um, but in his real life, Diddy is a snake, right? That crawls on his belly and performs at and behaves at a very low acting, vibration. So yeah.
On the lighter end, so maybe 2 years is probably what a lot of people are suggesting.
Let me pull up the chat here, y'all. Drop those teacups in the chat when you come in the room. Hi, Lori. Lorcy, hello. I've met
All right, interesting. Now, of course, the judge also ruled yesterday that he will remain in prison until that sentencing happens. Were you surprised by this?
Yeah, I really.
So I don't know why. When I toggle back and forth between screens, I start to glitch. And I don't know why. I'm using Microsoft. I don't know. My Chrome is completely shot.
Was
I need a
surprised
new
because
computer.
he was facing very
My husband uses my computer.
charges that he was found not guilty on. So the charge, essentially, this was a prostitution charge, which is a crime. It's still a felony, but not quite as serious. And his team actually proposed that he post $1 million bond, that he only travel within 4 states, he turn over his passport. I think his mother and his daughter's mother was also going to sign that bond. So it was sort of an interesting proposal. And of course, the prosecution and other victims said, no, he's still terrorizing people. He's still not safe. And so the judge allows him to stay in, so I was a little surprised at that. But he has a few more months, and that will count towards his time served, toward whatever the sentence ultimately ends up being.
Okay, so talking about these 2 charges that he was convicted on, we've heard a lot of critics after yesterday's jurors came back with their verdict. A lot of angry people out there taking to social media who are outside the courthouse right there. What protections are there for these jurors who came to this decision now that they have to face the public?
Yeah, there's not necessarily a lot of protections as to commit crimes towards them. They can be prosecuted, but essentially with the jury gets instructions, particularly while the trial was going on, regarding sequestration and not looking into it and that kind of thing. And different judges some judges allow jurors to go and talk. Some judges say you can't speak about it. In this case, and I think that's a disservice, as I was mentioning yesterday, because the lawyers actually benefit from that information.
Now, in this case, the judge didn't say that they couldn't talk, but he did discourage them from talking.
Right, that's right. And, in these kind of high-profile cases, there's going to be a lot of pressure for people. They're going to be book deals or interviews and that kind of thing. And I think they're going to be able to. I didn't see the judge's order specifically, but I think it was just a discouragement, if you will.
Yeah. All right. Well, Whitney, thank you for coming back. We appreciate it.
About 9 News are paying some bills, so are we. Remember, when you come into the room,
why you may be overpaying for car.
Let me know you have sat down at the table and ready to do the tea. When Tanisha
we learned Sean
this
Combs
morning, we're up on the Sean Diddy Combs trial. He is scheduled to be sentenced today. today, guys. Okay, let's get it.
Denied being released from custody while he awaits sentencing. Today, the verdict came back. He was convicted of prostitution-related offenses. A jury acquitted him of sex trafficking and racketeering charges, which would have left him with a possible sentence of life in prison. The attorney representing his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, who has shared emotional testimony, really difficult testimony, spoke after the verdict this morning.
The reaction is that we're pleased. That he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes. Something that he's never faced with, seeing a conviction on the sex crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard.
Sentencing will now be held October 3rd. We'll continue our coverage with our 9 News legal analyst, Whitney Traylor. The jury came back. Well, yesterday we knew they were deadlocked, at least on the racketeering charge. They came back with this mixed verdict. Is that considered a victory for the defense or prosecution?
Oh, I think in this case, it's unquestionably a victory for the defense. I mean, when you, as you mentioned, what he was facing, potentially life with a minimum of a 15-year sentence on that racketeering and sex trafficking, the fact that he got out, even though these are still federal crimes, he could face up to 10 years on both of them on the maximum sentence, but we know he won't do that. It'll be a lesser time. This was a major victory, and it was really difficult because on the major charges, that one element of that is the coercion aspect, and the defense presented a plethora of text messages indicating that it wasn't coercion, that these ladies actually agreed to it. That was the evidence that was presented. With respect to the prostitution charge, all they had to show was that he paid folks, he brought folks from out of town into engage in these activities. And these male escorts testified that, yeah, we weren't coerced. We were paid thousands of dollars. So that prostitution charge was pretty easy to prove.
Well, it's interesting because the prosecution's case lasted for weeks, and then the defense, they didn't have that many witnesses. Sean Diddy Combs didn't testify in his own defense.
Right.
It was real kind of short and sweet. Do you feel like they knew there really wasn't a case? Those RICO charges were going to be hard to prove from the beginning.
Yeah, the RICO charges were going to be tough to prove. But the fact that the defense didn't produce any witnesses doesn't mean they were lackadaisical about it, because they had the opportunity to cross-examine. Trial is cross-examination and closing. And the cross-examination, most lawyers will say, on direct, you want them to focus on the witness testifying. On cross, you actually want them to focus on you. It almost doesn't matter what the witness says. And so the fact that I think the prosecution called over 40 witnesses, and the defense was able to cross-examine each of them so that they didn't feel it was relevant to bring them back in their case in chief. And then, of course, Sean Combs not testifying. I'm not surprised at that at all, because you have a Fifth Amendment right to not self-incriminate. And a lot of times defendants don't want to testify because it can open the door. Cross-examination is brutal. Many times it can open the door to, if you've had any other kind of criminal history. And you have to remember, the prosecution has the burden of proof. So it's, in some ways, and beyond a reasonable doubt, as that prosecutor just said, is a high burden to meet. And so when you're on the defense, you're really just picking at the prosecution's case. So I'm not surprised at that defense strategy. And obviously it worked, because he won on these major charges.
It worked.
Yeah.
Well, you look at the jury, what they've got gone through for the last few months, what they've listened to alone. And then you also have somebody that's extremely well known sitting
Yes.
right there,
Yes.
and all his family. His mom was there every day.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's human nature plays a role, I think, sometimes into this too. But wow, that testimony from Cassie alone just was really compelling. So now today they said, you got to stay in prison.
Yes. Now,
What does that mean?
So that means until his sentencing. So there was a hearing today that I think it actually may still be going on, but I do understand that the judge said, no, you can't be released. And so the defense was saying, hey, we'll post $1 million bond signed by him, his mother, I think one of his daughters. And they agreed to turn over the passport and only travel to 4 states. And the judge said no. And I thought, based on those charges, because he won on the more serious charges, I thought they would have actually said, yeah, he can get out, but no, he won't. So he's been in now for 10 months. The sentencing will be in October, so by the time he goes, he'll have already served a year, which will count towards his time. So he may only be facing 2 or 3 or 4 more years in jail.
Yeah, but it's not all over. We're getting a rap, but he's got 80 civil cases, so his
Yes.
legal troubles, and he was on his hands and knees praying and all that stuff, but he's still got an uphill battle, at least when it comes
On the
to
civil side,
yeah.
yes, years of litigation for sure.
Yeah, he'll be back in court.
Yes, yes,
All right. Thank you, Whitney.
sure.
Okay, as I was saying, I was muted the entire time. 4 years is a lot for Diddy, right? I don't think Diddy will be okay with 4 years. To no avail. He cannot get out of jail. And just such is life for Diddy right now. And so, Diddy does not, of course, who would want to be in jail. 4 years is going to be a long time to be sitting in jail, to a pit. So all of his menacing, mising, terrorizing that he was doing all across these great states and abroad, right? So, I mean, I know that from what Diddy, looked like and was doing, that he's not going to want to sit in jail for 4 years. Yeah, so we're going to continue to get into it and see. Court TV is live with Diddy stuff, live updates, Diddy X trafficking. Let's get into it. Let's get it.
To make any sense.
He was evil.
What devastation.
All I can do is scream. like he was covering or deceiving.
A judge. I mean, at the end of the day, the judge is going to consider all of the evidence and all of the testimony submitted during the guilt innocence phase of this trial. That includes that Cassie
last year. So September, he went into jail. So then right now we're in October. So they're saying by December, he should be able to get out. Then you have a recommendation also by the U.S. Probation Department, who sat down, who conducted an interview with Sean Diddy Combs, took a look at his background. They have come up with a sentencing recommendation of 5 years to 7 years on the top end. So quite a difference between all of these sentencing recommendations. I know you were playing that video before. Defense counsel is planning to play that video today for the judge during the sentencing hearing. And also, Ted, we are expecting to hear from Sean Diddy Combs himself. According to the filings by defense counsel, Sean does intend to address the judge and express remorse, talk about taking responsibility for his actions and saying, if you let me out and have mercy on me, I will never commit another crime again. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what he says in court, but we do have a preview from the letter he has submitted, Ted.
Yeah, that letter is pretty extensive, going into asking and pleading, really, for the judge a second chance at all of it, being a father, being a leader, being this and that. What a scene it is going to be inside that courtroom and outside the courthouse. And Kelly's going to be there in a federal courtroom. So we rely on Kelly, and she will provide all the information as it comes in. Kelly, thank you. Talk to you soon. Here to discuss this, let's break it down. Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Lindsay Richards. Let's start with this PR video that the team created, and boy, you watch it.
Okay, so they say at 10 a.m.
It's a lot. It's a lot. If you're trying to sway potential fans, like the public, I get it, maybe. You know, it's sort of a look at how great a guy I am. But a federal judge? I mean, this is a pretty tough audience to be showing baby pictures and me being a great dad video. Your thoughts on this strategy to try to sway a judge with behind the scenes of Sean's life in a positive way?
You know, I think that it's creative, for sure. I personally have never seen this done in all of my years of being not only a former prosecutor, but a defense attorney now. I've never seen a video submitted. I do think you're right that this is more an attempt to sway the court of public opinion than it is going to sway a judge. I mean, at the end of the day, the judge is going to consider all of the evidence and all of the testimony submitted during the guilt innocence phase of this trial. That includes that Cassie Ventura video. That includes all of the testimony by victims of his crimes. And the letter he submitted, I will tell you, to me, although taking some responsibility, wasn't really taking full responsibility or really understanding the extent to which he's done damage to so many women. And he was a father at the time that he was doing all of these things. So I don't know if this video of showing him having children is really going to sway the judge in the way that they're hoping.
Yeah, I mean, he's the video of him finishing a 10K or a half marathon. I mean, I don't know. He's showing the best things of himself and his life. It's nice, but they're here for the other video, the one outside the elevator bank of him dragging a woman and kicking her in the head. And the judge has seen that, and the judge has heard all of the testimonials of people that say he was a monster in and around him. What about the fact that the jury said not guilty to the top charges, and he's not being sentenced for dragging Cassie at the elevator bank? He's sentenced for something else. To what degree does that bleed in legally? Can it, in terms of the judge's decision here? And as a human being, he can't unsee it.
Correct. So it actually legally it all comes in. So these are all considered prior bad acts that the state can use and prove up as reasons to increase his sentence and essentially use it as a reason to give him the maximum sentence. So all of those are prior bad acts. And if there's more victims that they put in the stand during this punishment phase, that's also taken into consideration. So even though he wasn't convicted on those racketeering charges and the evidence that was presented didn't fit neatly.
Is your team spending more time on timesheets than their actual?
Diddy today. Today's Diddy sentencing, y'all. Y'all know we've been gearing up over here on Tanisha Talks T's show. How much time do you think Diddy will get? How much time do you think the diddler will get? This one's 14 months with time served.
Or do you think that typically in cases that you've been exposed to, judges can be swayed?
I will say it really depends on the judge. I do think the fact that the U.S. attorneys in this particular case asked for at least 11 years tells me that they kind of know this judge and maybe his way of thinking. So I'm anticipating he's going to hand down a sentence probably around 10 years is my guess, but I'm not totally sure. That's just totally a guess for me.
So he would be leaning towards, and the bail hearing, we did learn a little bit because one of the arguments from the defense was, hey, he should be out on bail because likely he's not going to be getting a ton of prison time here. He's sort of already served significant jail time, and the judge slapped that down basically and said, well, we don't know about that in terms of his length of time. The U.S. Probation Office, though, says 5 to 7. You think he departs upward at the end of the day?
I do. I mean, realistically, he could give 20. If he wanted to max him out, he could give 20 years, have 10 on each and run them consecutive. My guess, and this is just a total guess, I've never practiced in front of this judge, but a lot of times, like you were saying before, they do kind of have their mind made up and they know what direction they're heading in. And the prosecutors do have an advantage in the way that he works. And so I do think he gives 10, and I think he runs it concurrent. I think the defense team was being a little bit optimistic in thinking that, oh, he should be released on bail, he's not going to get much time. I think that is minimizing the extent of these prior bad acts that the judge has already heard about.
Yeah, they're asking for time served, 14 months total, which basically time served, let him out for Christmas kind of thing. That likely is not going to happen, but we'll see where it ends up. Again, our Kelly Craft is going to be there for us, our eyes and ears, and we'll get you the latest information as it comes in. Again, 10 o'clock Eastern is when they're supposed to get underway. We shall see what happens. We're going to get a break. When we come back, we're going to turn to the sentencing of a case that we've been tracking here at Court TV. It's a heartbreaker. The killer uncle murdering sentence.
All right, let's catch up on Court TV because we're all Diddy this morning, okay? Only Diddy, only Diddy. Remember, when you come into the room, sit down at the tea table, pick your teacup up to be filled with Tanisha Talks Teas. Also, drop those teacups down in the chat. Let me know where you stand on the United States versus Diddy. Do you think he should get upper excessive amount of 11 plus years or lesser than 2? Drop that down in the chat with your teacups. Thank you for sipping tea. We're sipping tea with Tanisha Talks Teas. I've been gearing y'all up for this, dropping nothing but Diddy content. So all of the part 1 through 26 so far will go into its own playlist along with this show as well. Plus, we're going to continue to follow up with Diddy on how he, is faring while he's incarcerated for whatever amount of time he gets. Also, after he gets released from jail, whenever that is, and starts to face his civil lawsuits as well. Let's get it.
So difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was
When Sean first proposed freak-offs, what was your reaction?
Oh, I just remember, like, my stomach falling to my butt. I was just in love and wanted to make him happy.
Me and you could be mad, I could have a spat, we could have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really, that's all it is.
I'm doing great. How are you, Your Honor? Good. I want to tell you thank you. You're doing an excellent job.
In just a few minutes, Sean Diddy Combs will be sentenced. Well, at least the hearing's going to get underway. It's going to take a while. As many of us know, a jury acquitted Combs of the more serious racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges that could have put him behind bars for the rest of his life. He was found guilty, though, on prostitution-related charges. And that's what's going to be dealt with today. How much time should he spend in prison, if at all? This is a look at some of the arrivals happening. This happened moments ago. We're expecting the hearing to get underway at any moment. It's supposed to be a 10 o'clock start, so here we are 2 minutes away. Likely going to be a little delayed because of all of the attention. People have been lining up overnight for spots in the courtroom, and a lot of people will be speaking, including, we expect, the defendant, Sean Combs. He says he's taken full responsibility and accountability for his, quote, past wrongs. That was in a letter written to the judge. The defense is also expected to play an 11-minute video, this is odd, of Sean Diddy Combs at home, etc., in court. Here's a snippet of it.
What are you giving to the world? I don't think you know.
When my baby cries.
You gotta give her a bottle then. Know that you mean something to people. Know that you mean something to people, like you live somewhere in people's...
All right, video of Sean Diddy Combs at home, interacting with his children and looking like a good guy. Will it sway the judge? Let's bring in Brian Watkins, criminal defense attorney, an excellent one at that. He is in the state of California. Brian, good morning to you on this Friday. The judge has a huge amount of leeway here. The government wants 11 years and 3 months. The defense is saying time served, basically. They want 14 months. At the end of the day, where do you think the judge is going to land?
You know, I think and I hope that this trial was. Never in history has there been a one-man RICO case. Never in history has there been a one-man conspiracy case. I mean, this prosecution was so overboard, so malicious. It's funny. You know, you look at the young man who was the hired stripper, dancer, whatever you want to call him.
The Punisher.
That's what he did. Yeah, okay. That's what you do. That's what he does for a living. Of all of his clients, Sean Puffy Combs was the only one that was prosecuted. I mean, the bottom line here is people, you know, adult dancers and entertainers all the time, they're not prosecuted for it. And now you had Sean Puffy Combs, life in prison, the same sentence that Charles Manson got for what he did. And it's outrageous. The feds are going way above and beyond abuse of power. It's incredible to me.
There's a video there of the family arriving, including the twin daughters in matching outfits as they enter the courtroom to see what happens to Sean Combs. Brian, what did you think of this video? A marathon or a half marathon. He's at home with the kids. I'm not sure a federal judge is going to be swayed by a well-produced, beautifully produced video of a defendant What's your take on this strategy? But will a judge be swayed by this?
You know, I hope he's just reminded of the fact that he has a life. Yes, he had a sex life that was, when you're talking about, like you said, he was looking at life in prison. When you're talking about taking away his life, taking away all these other parts, the parts, you know, taking him away from his children, harming his children, you know, all the other things that he did in his life other than his sex life. And his sex life shouldn't be the dominant factor in his life. And that's what they're hoping the judge understands, that there's more to Sean Diddy Combs than his sex life.
Those were the charges he was found guilty on. This jury sat through it. And to your point, at the end of the day, they said no to the most serious charges. So the ceiling here is 20 years. It's not going to get there. The government wants 11 years. How much of the facts of the other charges that were presented, i.e. the elevator video of him physically abusing Cassie, how much does that bleed in? And how much should it bleed in when the jury found him not guilty on the serious charges and he has been found guilty on prostitution-related charges? Does the other stuff, should it come into play?
Legally speaking, it absolutely does come into play. The judge can consider all the facts of the case, and the prosecution always argues all the charges that they lost. So absolutely, the video of him, you know, being physical with her in the hotel room, all that stuff comes in, and that's Cole brothers. You know, they were the cocaine brothers. They were racing boats and running cocaine back in the 80s. And they were found not guilty of murder, cocaine trafficking, all the charges except some sort of a little insurance fraud charge. And they ended up giving them 90 years for the insurance fraud. Why? Because the judge factored in all the murders and all the other evidence that he heard that they were found not guilty of. And that's what scares me. You know, the judge didn't let this guy out on bond. You're really going to tell me that Sean Diddy Combs is a flight risk? Where is he going to go and not be recognized and seen? Is he really going to flee to face a prostitution charge and live in exile the rest of his life in some secret island? I mean, it's unusual. It's outrageous, really, to think that he's a flight risk, that he should not have been granted bail. I mean, he's a person that gets no bail, like the most heinous murderers. So when the judge starts treating him like that, I do get worried that the judge is going to say, I wish they found you guilty of everything, and I'm going to sentence you as though they did.
Yeah, that's a good point. During that bail hearing, the defense made basically that argument. This guy's not going anywhere. He's been convicted of prostitution-related crimes. He should be out on bail, and the judge said no. So that he may have been basically tipping where he's heading. We'll see. We'll find out. Again, the hearing just getting underway now. Kelly Craft is there. No cameras. It's federal. Underway now. Our Kelly Craft is there. No. We get out of our team in New York. We'll pass along to you. And again, of course, we'll find out what this judge decides in terms of a sentence. Right now, we want to go back to that horrible case, to the murders of courtroom. More victim impact statements.
Thank you.
On what happens in terms of a sentence for Sean Combs. Also, we're in New Hampshire, and we have been watching this gut-wrenching sentencing hearing in the killer uncle murdering sentence. 19-year-old Eric Sweeney faces life in prison without parole for murdering his sister-in-law and 2 young nephews. Back in August, he entered pleas of guilty. Dawson. This is Cassandra Sweet cousin. She's up next.
Okay, we're not
Speak.
the Sandra Sweeney case. We're gonna go back to the live Diddy sentencing stuff. Thank you guys so much for sipping tea with Tanisha Talks Tea this morning. We are up on the Diddy live sentencing, right? Today is the day of reckoning for the diddler. He will know his fate. He will know his fate. Okay. Harvey Levin's talking about y'all. Remember when you come into the room, sit down at the table, lift your teacups up to get filled up with Tanisha trial, conviction, and sentence. What will be his fate? Up to 11 years or more, and will he get a slap on the wrist? I will be upgrading my computer. Every time I say don't touch my computer, I use it for work. They do. So, yeah.
Mia, the jury didn't find that they were victims. They did not
Hi, Bethany.
find that
Thank you
because
for
he was
watching.
found not guilty of sex trafficking. The Mann Act has nothing to do with them. It has to do with the sex. Well, it has to do with
Hi,
sex workers.
Kenny 2222. Thank you for
Charlie,
watching.
for those doesn't make them a victim.
or just be
Yes, Bethany, you can share
I get it, but
any of my content.
their testimony, as far as this,
it's not.
And thank you so much for supporting.
I'm saying they've already testified as witnesses, but it's not victims' impact.
Let me just say this. Cassie, to say that about Cassie.
No, I didn't. You didn't hear what I said.
I thought you said Cassie and Jane.
I said Mia and Jane.
Oh, Mia, yeah.
Yeah.
Mia was not part of it.
Cassie definitely is a victim because the 2016 video was introduced into evidence.
So you remember the things that happened while the Mann Act was violated? Like her being peed on?
Well, no. But what I'm saying to you is that would be.
People are saying in the chats,
the jury didn't
at
find
TMZ, lock
that
them
lack
up.
of consent.
No, I
The
get
guy
it, and that's what I'm
talking.
saying. But at least that is directly
Has the
related to the
tapes.
violations of the Mann Act, right? She's in the freak off when these things happen to her.
But
so,
but what they
why
what the defense argued was that was consensual. Well, no, they did.
I get that they argued that.
And the jury didn't find it wasn't, is my point. I'm not saying it was or wasn't. I'm just saying when the judge is ruling, there was no.
I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that the judge, from what I have read, will take into consideration acts of violence or that were done during these
People think
when
it's BS that
we'll see.
because he has
But if there were acts of
high-value,
violence,
high-powered, that he would
then he would have been convicted on sex
early
trafficking.
total BS.
Sure.
No.
That's what sex trafficking is. If you are violent where somebody is not consenting,
correct,
then you are guilty of sex trafficking. Right. Under that law.
But will the judge take into consideration Cassie's testimony of what she says happened? I get it that the defense isn't saying she was discredited and this, that,
Well, they found her not. They found
things that are related to the violations of the Mann Act, right? So anytime that a prostitute was hired, taken over state lines, and they had whatever encounters they had, whatever happened during those, it should be relevant to the sentence.
Okay, let me give you a hypothetical.
I'm just asking.
No, let me give you a hypothetical.
How about you just answer my question?
Okay, the answer is no.
Okay.
And
thank you.
Hold on. If two people
I should be taking to law school.
If two people engage in S&M,
right,
voluntarily,
right,
You could call that violence, couldn't you?
It depends on how they view it after the fact.
Suppose they've, not after the fact, during the fact.
No. During the fact, sure. Okay.
If they consent and say somebody gets whipped, that would be a violent act if it were non-consensual. Right.
Correct.
Okay. If it's,
I mean,
it's a
violent act.
It's a violent act.
It's a violent act, period, but you may be into that violent act.
If it's consensual, are you a victim?
Of what?
A victim of anything. Are you a victim?
You can't just say a victim. I don't know. Maybe a victim of something. I'm not a victim of, if I wanted that, then no, I'm not a victim of that particular act.
So his position was, this was, and again, I'm not embracing what he's saying. His position to the jury,
feels like you are a little
I'm
bit,
not,
but
because I already said Cassie can't be considered a victim.
Right.
Certainly based on the 2016 video, which was introduced into evidence.
Right.
She can be called a victim.
So you're saying only based on that video, and I'm saying that the things that Jane and Cassie said happened to them during the freak-offs, the judge take into consideration. I don't know if he will, but he can.
Well,
legally.
Legally, the question is, will the judge do it if the jury found basically, look, there's no proof there was no consent there because you got no consent to whatever was done, and had there been no consent, he would have been found guilty of sex trafficking. He wasn't found guilty of sex trafficking because they couldn't find there was that lack of consent beyond a reasonable doubt. So if they're
beyond a reasonable doubt.
Well, now the question is, can the judge lower the standard?
Exactly.
And he hasn't said, no, he hasn't said. But
He hasn't said, but he can. The law allows him to do that. I don't know if he's going to.
There might be a reversible error issue here at some point, and that's one of the things.
See, now he's going to bring up legal terms that I don't.
Because it's a legal thing. Yeah, sentencing is a legal thing. That's why I'm bringing it up.
No, I know.
It's not a baseball game.
No, but
it's a legal
thing. Reversible error.
So if the judge has a certain amount of discretion, but if he considers issues that he shouldn't, then an appellate court.
Well, what do you mean he shouldn't? What?
Well, that's
who determines what he shouldn't.
Well, ultimately
the law does, right?
Well, but the law is not crystal clear on what the judge can consider. They don't, the law doesn't have every case and say, oh.
I mean, there are guidelines for the judge, right?
And the question is, does he go beyond the guidelines to.
Well, if he goes beyond the guidelines, then obviously that's.
To call
an error.
Jane or Mia a victim and consider them as victims.
What if we lose the label victim, all right? That doesn't matter. Take the label away. Can he take into consideration the things that they either testified to, or in this case, Cassie has written this very passionate letter about what she's going through still. Can he take that into consideration?
I think Cassie's different than Mia, and
absolutely, take Mia out of it. Cassie and Jane. Cassie and Jane.
Cassie's different than Jane.
How?
Because of the 2016 video. The judge has incontrovertible evidence that he was a violent man toward Cassie. It was admitted into evidence. There's not a question about it.
What do you guys think about the possibility of the judge maybe considering the fact that Diddy paid Cassie like $20 million or something, $30 million for her pain and suffering? Do you think that will have an impact on the judge's decision on what he will sentence Diddy to? Drop that in the chat along with your teacups. We are today at the reckoning of Diddy's fate for his convicted of the trafficking and soliciting of a prostitute.
Right.
It was stipulated.
Sure. I mean, we all.
So she is in a different position than Jane.
So the fact that Jane testified to really what sounded like, there's no video, and actually more horrific beating than what Cassie went through.
And the jury didn't buy it.
And I don't know that that means that the jury didn't buy it.
Had they bought it, he would have been found guilty of sex trafficking as to Jane.
No.
Yes, it meets all the elements. It meets every element.
No, because that fight that she described was not in the middle of a freak-off. That was them. In fact, the freak-off happened after the fight, is what she said. The fight was just them at, I think it was her house. And they got into an argument, and he beat her, according to her, beat her in the closet, chased her. She ran across the street, hid in the bushes, and it went on for hours. And at the end of it, they came together, and then he said, call up so-and-so,
look,
and we're gonna have a freak-off.
This is gonna be the wild card. How far does the judge look at the crimes for which he was convicted and say, look, here are my parameters, or is the judge going to go beyond that? And if he goes beyond it, how far beyond it does he go? Does he consider Cassie but not Jane and Mia? Does he consider all of that? And I think that's the wild card here.
What did I hear this morning about the guidelines changed, the federal guidelines for the judge changed last year and what he can consider?
He can, look, I don't think it's clear whether he can consider beyond what was presented in court and proven in court. But I think there's still a gray area. That's why guidelines are changing.
I think the key is going to be he cannot consider anything for which Diddy was acquitted or which the jury made a decision on. The jury made a decision on violence and furtherance of a felony, of a conspiracy. But violence itself is always an aggravating factor, right? If any act is committed with violence, it's going to be an aggravating factor that can lead to more jail time. And the jury didn't consider that by itself, whether he was violent. And there was evidence. So I do think the judge has some leeway here, but it's not absolute, I think, to the point you're making.
Well, and the other thing is, remember, the defense didn't even put on a case. So, you know, one of the arguments, depending on the sentence, would be, we didn't put on a defense because we didn't think the prosecution made its case. You can't take what they said as fact because we exercised our right to rest because of a deficiency of evidence.
I do remember, and the judge made a point of this as well, Agnifilo said in his closing arguments, he made some admissions as to what they had heard. Yeah, if this was a case, I think he said something to the effect, this is a case of domestic violence, there would be a case here, but that's not what's happening.
So I want to show you guys something.
Oh, is this the video?
Oh, it's so fascinating. So there are a couple of things going on. I can tell you I have some recon. You know, Diddy submitted a letter saying that he was a broken man after all of this and, you know, all the stuff he said. He sent a letter to the judge. My understanding is that there is a feeling in that team that he should still talk to the judge because speaking out loud is a better connection than a letter, which could easily be written by a lawyer. And so don't be surprised if Diddy also speaks today. But this is interesting. This that I'm about to show you is part of an exhibit that they submitted as part of their request for 14 months in prison, which should effectively let him out now. So watch this.
Let's get into it, T-Sippers. We are watching from TMZ with Fair Use, where he is going to show some of the exhibits of how his team has displayed to the judge of why Diddy should only get about 14 months. Y'all make sure that y'all drop those teacups in the chat and let us know that you are live with Tanisha Talks Teas. When you come in the room, sit down at the table, prop your teacup up, get it filled, and let's sip this tea on Diddy's sentencing.
This, and I think it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, we're going to play you 2 minutes of it.
No. Harvey, this is our video.
Oh, wait. Sorry about that.
Can't let this guy queue up a video.
Right
here, that's it. It's just that
hold on.
You would.
Can we please get that story
hold on,
up?
It's up. It's up.
Okay, why is that happening?
Because you slow down. There it is. Nope.
Nope. What's going on here?
That's the live stream. Hang on. Release video. Hey guys, what you have it for should be probably
1.
3.
Well, we already know he's going to be sentenced. Make it 1.
All right, put it at the top.
Okay, this is it. So this is 2.5 minutes of it. We'll show you. So this is what the defense submitted.
I don't think you know, man. You gotta give her a bottle, man. Know that you mean something to people.
Okay, this is what we watched earlier, okay, where they're trying to appeal to the judge about Diddy's character at home and family man.
Thank you. You hear it? This country and this world we live in, they have planned for y'all. I didn't listen to that. I don't want y'all to listen to it either. And I'm happy to say this is our third school we have opened this official. When we come together as a people, nothing can stop us. What I want to do with my freedom is make sure that I can make change. You will change the world.
For those of you who are just joining, again, we're showing a video that Diddy's team submitted to the judge to basically show he's a father, he's done good work. They're trying to show this video to have an impact on the judge. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think of this.
I've been to hell.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make it.
You gonna make it, that's right. I got something for you. Remember I told you I had a present for you?
Yeah. Ain't that pretty?
This is a heart, because you're my heart.
Oh.
All right?
Okay.
You my heart.
Kim Porter, who shares 3 children with Sean Diddy Combs, has been found dead.
Now I'm a full-time dad. I'm going to be there for you through everything, all of y'all. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for inspiring. I've looked up to you and admired you outside of you just being my father, just you being just a great human being, a kind human being. I love how you inspire me to keep going, to never stop following my dreams, to always believe in myself. See your foot, put in that middle part.
And I did it. I wanted to tell you how much I love you, how much I care for you. Thank you for being so supportive of me and my siblings' dreams, for always encouraging us to go for whatever we want. We love you. We can't wait to make more memories with you. Just want to thank you for everything you do for us. Yes, and I want you to know that you're loved more than you think.
I love you.
I love you so much.
I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hi, Daddy.
What do
We're
you
gonna
guys think?
pause it there as TMZ also checks in with their audience to see how do you guys feel. How do you feel, sippers? I want to say every person has two sides, right? And unfortunately, Diddy's other side was the side that we don't want to dream about in our nightmares. So great. Diddy was a great family man. Diddy was a great humanitarian. Diddy was a person that could speak well in influencing the people, right? Unfortunately, what he did in his other side of who he was a bad character. Okay, a bad character. Drop it in the chat. Let me know how y'all feel about Diddy. Let's chime back in with TMZ. Let's get it.
Think. What, oh, I want to hear what they say. Are you kidding me? Oh. What are they saying?
He abused that poor girl by the elevator. That was the real him. Why he forgot he was being recorded. Nothing can excuse what he's done. I don't know if it's possible to forgive him. He's a dangerous man for children to admire and look up to. So what if he is kind to people he cares about? He is a monster to others. This video is all smoke and mirrors. Sure, he's a family man with suits, but his crimes outweigh his good deeds. This video is a waste of time. He punched her when the cameras turned off. The judge ain't gonna fall for this video. This is a Diddy movie. What about the one where he drags women by their hair? He looks like he got to film everything to make himself look sweet.
I gotta say, I think this thing lands flat. Flat. That I actually think it's a
I'm
mistake.
shocked that they were allowed.
I'm shocked that they were. I think it's a huge mistake.
I'm shocked that they were allowed to to even submit.
Well, they can submit whatever they want, but
Yeah.
we've just talked about the fact that judge shouldn't consider things too far outside of what the evidence was presented at trial. Diddy could have put on evidence. He didn't.
Well, you know
Now
what's
he wants to submit something after the
can
fact.
I tell you what's really interesting? In a way, this video opens the door for all the other people to testify about things that he did to them that weren't even part of the trial, for people to come in, because he's now trying to show a side that wasn't relevant in court. Right. So why can't they?
Why can't they?
And maybe their argument is more relevant than this.
And I think somebody in the comments asked the question, which is the great question. If we're going to see this video, let's show the other videos as well. Let's consider those of him dragging Cassie by the hair most prevalently. The prosecution could put together a really effective video that had nothing to do with the evidence put together at trial, put forth at trial. That would be devastating.
I think this is a terrible move.
I am flabbergasted by
terrible move.
And
it's produced too. It's
exactly.
Like,
it also screams of like the defendant would normally be afforded this, right? When you talk about whether someone's getting celebrity justice, the fact that he's able to put together this incredible, like that's something that we played at the Oscars,
but it's
for
not
his in memoriam.
But it's not it's not going to work because it's fake.
Right.
I know, but
it's so inauthentic.
It's so inauthentic. It's so inauthentic. This feels like some Hollywood producer is trying to get over on the judge.
Yes.
Okay.
He submitted this to the judge?
Yes.
That's a mistake.
It's huge.
They're going to play it in court today. I mean, you guys just got a preview.
Are there credits at the end?
You know, obviously there are not cameras in the courtroom today, but that video is exactly what's going to be played in court today. So you got a little.
No, it's 12 minutes. The actual video.
That's only 2.
That's only 3 minutes.
It's 12
minutes. 12 minutes.
That's really bad.
So, are they going to play Diddy's short documentary? Because essentially that's what that gave me, okay? That gave me short documentary.
Because at some point the judge is going to
go. The judge halfway through is going to be like, all right, that's quite enough.
I've seen enough.
I agree with all of this, that it's going to backfire and it lands very flat. But don't you think that it's hard to watch a soaring score and not have an emotional response? Do you think the emotional response will be all negative?
You know what my emotional reaction is? Bullshit.
Mine too,
listen,
but it is part of his life that he does these good deeds.
It absolutely
and
is.
he isn't maybe soft with his daughter.
And I know there was a comment. I know there was a comment that says
the
the real him is the person who's beating Cassie. I agree, that is the real him, but that is also the real him. He's their father.
Well, absolutely.
Both things can be true.
But you know, two things.
One is relevant.
Number one, he had every opportunity to present all of that at trial, and he decided not to.
No, you can't.
No. You can't do this.
No. I'll tell you why.
You absolutely could bring witnesses off to say
he didn't need to.
I understand to defeat the case, but you can't now put it up to say what a good guy he is.
He didn't need to do that because the prosecution didn't prove its case.
I'm not arguing any of that.
But Jake,
of course he didn't need
This
to.
is the most relevant time at sentencing where you give a holistic portrait of a person to say there are aggravating circumstances and there are mitigating. Look how good of a person I am. So taking me off the streets is a net negative for society because I build schools. I'm with my family.
Understood. So the prosecution then has the right to go way outside of the testimony provided at trial and say he's not just a bad person in terms of what he did at trial. He's also X, Y, and Z.
And they will.
Which, well, they said they can't, right?
But in their papers, they're already saying, look how they're pointing to all the violence that was during the trial. They are
the evidence submitted at trial.
Right, but not the ones he was convicted on.
Well, the prosecution is relying on evidence submitted at a trial. He's relying on things that are he claims to be true, by the way, which is this.
But have never been tested under oath.
But have never been tested under oath. Nobody's cross-examined about the.
Well, you don't have to testify under oath. He loves his kids. Got it. And he's sweet to his kids at times. Maybe he's not sweet to his kids at other times.
They all contain multitudes.
This is such a produced kind of fake version that it's almost offensive.
It invites the judge to have all sorts of things that jump in his head. Like the point where Diddy says he's talking to the kids after Kim Porter's death. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be there for you at all times.
I'm their only
and in my
parent.
head, I'm just going, unless there's a freak off, then I got to go do that first. Like, all those things are going to jump in the judge's head when they play that video.
The judge is just going to dismiss it. I mean, the bottom line is,
Will
it's not even
it's not
even what the judge doesn't like. The judge is going to look at what he says is relevant. And again, the prosecution, we are told, is going to take hours, which is very interesting. The defense, I'm told, is surprised by that. So the big question is Diddy going to address the judge? And my recon is there's a split in the defense team on this, and that some people think he absolutely should talk to the judge because you need that connection. A letter doesn't create the connection. I don't know. As of last night, my understanding is no decision. There may be one now, but I'm also told Diddy is a wild card. And even if the decision is don't speak, there may be a point he
Do we know, is
I
he
want to
in-
talk.
Do you think philosophically just that this really can change a judge's mind? The judge has done his homework, right? The judge has a prepared statement he's written out in advance, so he's going to read from. I suppose he could make little handwritten notes within that statement. I just think that maybe there's more harm to be done than good that could come from Diddy speaking. Like, the judge is not going to get more lenient than he's walking in.
Here's the reality.
That's what I'm saying. Is there more harm that could? I don't really think so.
Here's the reality of this. I mean, I know a lot of judges who sentence, and they make their decision before they get on the bench. So this judge has a number in mind, and probably, most likely, nothing is going to move the needle from where the judge is. There may be a bombshell, but really, what bombshell is there going to be? We've heard from Cassie, and Cassie submitted her letter. You know, if Jane testifies, Jane's already testified. Mia's already testified. We know their story. We know his side. You know he's going to say, I'm remorseful, and I regret it, and I've learned, and all of that stuff.
Bullying?
The judge has heard it all. He's read Diddy's letter. He's heard all the testimony. He's made his decision. If there's a huge bombshell, which there's not going to be, it's not going to change.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Hey,
I agree with you.
So,
judge is on the bench, by the way.
An update from, they're in court. Diddy is wearing a white collared shirt with a crew neck sweater, a white crew neck sweater. And Mia, this just came across, Mia is not gonna, she no longer wishes to testify in court. She's not gonna make her statement in court because she said something about bullying. Now, it's not clear.
Social media.
What was it? The letter.
Due to a letter submitted by the defense that's bullying.
She found something in the letter, in Diddy's letter, bullying. I don't know.
I don't think that moves things one way or another.
No, and as we said, Mia
She's
is
not
not
a main
directly.
player in the case.
This is going to be, I'll tell you, the judge has made a decision.
But can it change is the question. Like,
Yeah,
like with a Hail Mary, if it can't change, then maybe he should speak.
What could be said that is going to change the judge at this point?
What is he going to say beyond the letter that he submitted, beyond that video? Like, it's all there already. So and he's not playing up to cameras. Like, to your point, which you made yesterday, I think it's true that part of this is him starting his public rehabilitation or attempting to.
Right.
But there are no cameras in court. So for him to speak, the judge.
Right. They're trying to accomplish that with this video, actually, because that is public.
Do you have a mic on? Guys, whoever is going to be doing updates needs a microphone. Well, Janet, you should have one too.
Okay. Do we have another mic for Liam?
We need a mic. We need a microphone for Liam because he's the one doing updates.
Isn't there a risk, though, that if Diddy speaks, you want the connection with the judge, that he's going to go off the cuff, that he could say something that sort of shows his hand a little bit?
Right? Because if you pluck the heartstring, you pluck the right one, and maybe the number that he has written in his statement, because I do believe the judge has a prepared statement, but the number can change.
Yeah.
He can do that on the fly. And if he says the right thing, it can change for the better. I don't think there's many where it changes for the worse, because he's going to be saying such positive things unless it falls completely inauthentically.
Well, he's not.
Is the judge going to say 20 years? He's going to go higher.
What is he? What can he say?
I do want to read a poll. So I want to read a poll because we had almost 1,000 people respond. How much time do you think Diddy will get? 1 to 4 years, 5 to 9 years, over 10 years? An overwhelming majority of 53% said 1 to 4 years.
Yeah, 5 to 9.
Yeah, it's going to be 1 to 4.
1 to 4.
It's 1 to 4.
I think you're over underline.
Again, my guess, and I'm totally guessing, but I'm kind of not. I mean, I think 40 months.
40 months.
I think it's going to be 40 months.
All right.
I think 5.5 years is my
And time served included in the 40 months, obviously.
Right. Yeah, of course.
He's done, 18 months now?
No, he's 12, in a year. He's
13.
in a year.
13 months?
It's going to end up being about 13.
So 27
But he
months.
also gets 15% credit.
You think he's going to have roughly
So he'll be out in a year and a half.
But there are other credits he gets too. He'll be out in a year with that.
That's not what the judge has indicated in any of his rulings. in all of his rulings on bail, on denying the acquittal, he has indicated that he finds him
here it
violent.
is. Will he be in jail or out of jail on June 15th, 2027? It's a year and 8 months from now.
I will say in jail.
What's happening on June 15th? Why are you picking
why
that
did you
date?
pick that? Just
Date that I picked. I'm the MC here.
Well, no, I'd rather do 2 years from today, because I think that's more likely. I think 2 years
Even
from
with
today
time
he's out.
served?
With times, well, it's always time served.
A year.
Excuse the bookies.
What are you getting?
Janet?
Sorry, the judge just said that the letter, the tone was inappropriate and it shouldn't happen again.
Which letter?
Diddy's letter.
The one from yesterday.
Really? Interesting.
He said the tone was inappropriate and it shouldn't happen again.
Let's pull that letter up.
It's
What do you say now?
You got the
Yeah.
letter?
He doesn't
That
even
is-
like his letter.
That is
yours.
really.
I say
he did. Stephen like his.
The judge is not buying the letter. A little lady just pooched up to the desk over there at TMZ and told the gang that the letter was not accepted and he didn't appreciate Diddy trying to play on his heart. Okay, let's get into the letter. Thank you guys so much for sipping tea with Tanisha Fox.
Letter.
Today we are sipping from Diddy's live sentencing. Okay, just in today, Diddy's being sentenced October 3rd, 2025. Let's listen to the letter.
Derek and Mike.
Take the over.
I
Since
think
he's going to be
I
talking.
think
Did he apologize?
Right, the defense's letter, it's Diddy.
4.5 is the over/underline.
And I take the over.
Read the
Let's
letter.
get the letter. This is really interesting.
Because they also had just talked about
Oh, I know.
the letter in terms of me.
I was going to pull it up on my computer.
And then you're like, oh, I'm
What the
not
judge
gonna
meant
be able
Well,
to
no,
buy
I
it.
would do it on my computer.
But the judge meant
Oh,
by
well, then
inappropriate.
do
It was
that.
too
Okay.
long.
What's the?
Dear Judge Subramanian.
Yes. Here, Charles.
Oh, by the way,
For your
we
eyes,
have
Charles.
to do a.
Well, we
oh,
would've
you have it printed out?
Yeah.
We are going to be doing
okay, I'll clarify that.
a live talk back with our affiliate here
Hey,
in
how
Los
come
Angeles,
the
KTTV.
live stream's not up on the website?
It is. It's in the Diddy, the top story, the Diddy story.
Oh, you put it in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just to clarify, he said the defense's letter when referencing the one the tone was inappropriate, but unless there was another letter submitted.
I mean,
I
this
think
is
it's
only
that
the
letter.
Yeah.
I got it right here, Charles.
I hope this letter finds you well and in good health.
I can do it in big.
Thank you for the opportunity to express my thoughts to you. First and foremost, I want to apologize and say how sincerely sorry I am for all the hurt and pain that I have caused others by my conduct. I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs. This has been the hardest 2 years of my life, and I have no one to blame for my current reality and situation but myself. In my life, I've made many mistakes, but I am no longer running from them. I'm so sorry for the hurt that I caused, but I understand that the mere words, I'm sorry, will never be good enough, as these words alone cannot erase the pain from the past.
Okay, let's do this as the 4 questions, where then the next person speaks at the table. Over the past
By the
13
way,
months.
Harvey, we have to do this live
I
shot
know.
in
I have had
a
to
minute.
look in the mirror like never before. My pain became my teacher. My sadness was my motivator. I have to admit, my downfall was rooted in my selfishness. The scene and images of me assaulting Cassie play over and over in my head daily. I literally lost my mind. I was dead wrong for putting my hands on the woman that I love. I'm sorry for that and always will be. My domestic violence will always be a heavy burden that I will forever carry. The remorse, the sorrow, the regret, the disappointment, the shame. I honestly feel sorry for something that I couldn't forgive someone else for. If they put their hands on one of my daughters, this is why it's so hard for me to forgive myself. It's like a deep wound that would leave an ugly scar. So he goes on and on and on.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 pages here. We're not going to
read the whole thing.
What is awful about
So
that tone?
interesting.
It's a very
So
standard
how about
tone.
this? Why don't you guys look for anything in the tone? We're
We
going
gotta
to
do our
talk to
live shot.
KTTV.
Oh, we're going to do a
Bob
live
and
shot
Jen?
now for KTTV right now, which is going to be like 2 minutes, but you can watch it. And we're going to talk about this. What?
That is in part, the prosecution said, because of a letter the defense submitted to the judge seeking to block Mia from speaking, writing that, quote, virtually everything that came out of her mouth, end quote, while on the stand during the trial, quote, was a lie.
Was
That's the letter
that
they
a
were
letter or a motion?
It was a letter written.
Well, no, but that would be a motion,
That was
not a letter.
we wrote about that
lawyers'
yesterday.
But that's New York Times says that's what they're referring to.
But it was
is
all
that.
of them, Harvey, were written as letters. This is a letter from Diddy, but every motion going back and forth have been these letters to the judge. Dear, Judge Supermanian.
Yeah.
So he could be referring to a letter written by
So they
lawyers.
said Mia was lying.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
What was
This is the one we wrote yesterday.
What was
did we write about
inappropriate that the judge said?
No.
What did he say?
Saying, well, he said that, quote, the tone of the defense's letter was inappropriate. Which
He said that in their communication with the court, they said virtually everything that came out of Mia's mouth
We can just do it here.
was a lie.
That's the quote
We
from the
had
letter,
people in it.
And so
that's fine.
that's what the judge is saying, that when they accused Mia of lying and everything that she said, that was the inappropriate comment.
Oh, and that's why Mia says she felt bullied
and that's
won't
why she
testify.
felt bullied, and that's why she's not going to testify.
And that letter was out of pocket.
Well, that's also a sign that not so fast, Diddy.
Yes.
That maybe they will consider some of this stuff that Mia
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they will.
Well, we'll see.
And especially with her saying she felt intimidated to speak in court now. Are we on with?
No, we can look over there. Okay, so we're doing a live shot for the Fox affiliate in Los Angeles. It's going to be like 2 minutes, but we'll keep you up to date. We're going to be talking. It's fine. You got it.
Courthouse there, where Sean Diddy Combs is
got it.
expected to be sentenced at some point
We'll just
this
take our own
morning.
cue, Daniela.
Proceedings getting underway as we speak. You may recall back in July, a jury convicted him on 2 counts of transportation to engage
and you guys,
in
as
prostitution.
updates happen,
it comes as
we wanna
Combs
hear 'em.
is asking
So
for
interrupt us.
leniency. He wrote a letter
Okay.
to the judge expressing
This is just going to be part of the what?
and remorse towards the actions towards his alleged victim towards those victims. Meantime, prosecutors are seeking a harsher sentence.
Joining us now to talk
Who's
more
saying
about
this?
the case is TMZ's
Who?
Harvey Levin and Charles Latsiboudier. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here this morning. Big day in court. What can we expect from the judge? I know a lot of people are also supposed to be getting up there and speaking.
Yeah, but just so you know, we're live streaming right now. So there's going to be some
movement. There's going to be, we're hearing updates coming in from court.
There's already stuff going on here. The judge is pissed off at the defense for submitting a letter saying that one of the alleged victims, Mia,
who was a former assistant of Diddy's.
Former assistant of
testified
Diddy's.
about being held hostage, not held, kidnapped, and she had to do a lie detector test and all of that.
So in a letter to the judge, the defense said she was a liar, and the judge got in the stand and said that was inappropriate. And
By the way, she felt, and she has said she's not going to speak in court today because she felt bullied by that letter. So the judge is
so this
admonishing them for that
resonated
letter.
with the judge. The other thing that I think is just shocking and tone deaf is the defense submitted this slick 12-minute video of showing how great a
Have you
person
guys
Diddy
played this
is.
video yet this morning?
We saw bits and pieces of it.
It is.
I mean, tone deaf.
It's something else.
Tone deaf to do that. I mean, it is a produced, not authentic version of somebody's life, because juxtapose that against the Cassie video. So what they're trying to do is kind of counter that, but it looks like a Hollywood movie. And I don't think that's going to play with the judge.
Played in his in memoriam or something at an award show. And
it's interesting because it's an audience of one, really, unless it's really like an audience that, you know, they're trying to play this out in the court of public opinion, right? Maybe they're doing this now because whatever is said here for an appeal in this case, they'll be able to say all of these things and sort of get some empathy from the public.
Bob, I think you hit it on the head.
I think they're trying for that. I don't know that it's even landing with the public.
That's what they're trying. Look, they got to rehabilitate this guy. I'm going to guess. I'm going to take a wild guess, and I don't know, but they're not going to give him 11 years. And I don't think they're going to give him time served by any means. I think it's going to be like 40 months. And I may be wrong, but ultimately, he's going to get out. And he's got to start rehabilitating when all eyes are on him. I don't know that this is the way to do it, but I think that was the play.
I'm just basing it on the comments on our live stream.
Oh, they hated
when we
it.
played that video.
Nobody hated it.
Felt like everyone said that, you know, the real him is the guy you saw beating Cassie because he didn't know he was being recorded there. All of that stuff in this video is produced. He knows that there are cameras there, and it's easy to say that he's putting on a show.
Liam, is there anything else that just happened? No.
By the way, have you guys? He's wearing he's in white. So he's wearing a white collared shirt with a white crew neck sweater.
Just so you know, I was told last night.
Interesting.
I was told last night that the prosecution is going to take hours to present their case on this. Diddy, who submitted a letter to the judge the other day, I'm told he still might speak. I think there's some conflict among his team, but he might speak. And no matter what his team says, what I'm told is he's a wild card. And depending on how he thinks it's going, he may just spontaneously say to the judge, I want to speak. But I know there's some feeling among some of that team that
he should not.
That he should.
Oh, that he should.
That a letter doesn't connect with the judge the way eyeballs do. And that.
But now, at the very start of this, you have the judge admonishing his team. Does he?
Right.
Does that make him feel like?
It's not a very good way to start off.
It's not. It's a terrible way of starting
But that may make him feel like, okay, I need to save this.
Right. And that may well be the case. So he may. I'll tell you, if I had to bet on this, I don't see how he doesn't at this point. I mean, he's.
When you think about ego,
fighting for his life, he's always managed to get out from under a situation. And I would be surprised if he just sits there silently all day.
Because now he can speak. We know that he had talked to his team about wanting to take the stand during the trial, and obviously they talked him out of that. But now he may feel like I've got nothing to lose.
The big thing in this case is, does the judge look at the Mann Act, which is simply taking a prostitute across state lines for the purpose of sex? That is not considered a terrible crime in the greater scheme of things. But does the judge consider violence, which isn't part of the Mann Act, was part of the trial, but it didn't land with the jury because they found him not guilty on those counts? So how much, if any, does the judge consider violence in sentencing him for the Mann Act, which is not a violent crime?
He has
and
brought
that's
it
the
up,
issue.
but the judge has brought up
So
violence.
we're hearing a lot
during
from
the bail
Diddy.
hearing.
He may actually speak himself. We saw the video itself. Cassie Ventura is not expected, to make some sort of impact statement, but
She did in a letter.
Maybe some of the others may speak, because you would imagine the judge would want to hear from the victims.
Well, Mia's not going to speak. She's just said it.
Mia was going to. She was going to speak. The other one that may speak is
Jane.
Deontay Nash. Jane is not going to.
So those are really the three people: Jane, Cassie, and Mia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it would really depend on one person actually speaking in court today. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking the reputational damage. Would he even dream of relaunching a career?
Well, Jen, I will say this to you. What would you have said back a few, 6, 7, 8 years ago, when you saw the pictures of Rihanna after Chris Brown beat her? People said that about him, and yet he's filling
on a tour
arenas
right
again.
now.
Yeah. So I know what you're saying, but taking a snapshot is unreliable. So if you think back then, where you had that image of Rihanna's face, everybody said Chris Brown over and out. It just wasn't true.
Right. Really interesting, great stuff you're doing there, watching this trial and doing a deep dive there in real time. Great job there from Harvey and Charles there over at TMZ. Thanks for your help this morning.
We'll see you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
See you guys.
Let's see what happens today.
Liam, anything?
The defense says acquitted conduct cannot be considered. There's no guidance from this on any court. Acquitted conduct can be considered. He cites a court case. U.S. objections. They argue for the criminal sex abuse guideline. Judge says there's little precedent on what type of threats required. Bodily harm makes the most sense to force Jane and Miss Ventura to engage in sex acts. Does this conduct establish the convicted conduct? There was the flight in Cannes. That's it.
Okay.
Just going over that.
So, look, I'm a little surprised when I heard last night that prosecutors were going to take hours. I suppose that could change, but that's what they told the judge. So this could go all day long. And as a matter of fact, I have a podcast today with Mark Garagos, who is part of this, and we're supposed to do it at 1 o'clock today, and Mark gave me a heads up. That may not happen. It may go beyond that, which is 4 o'clock Eastern time. So, you know, we will see. Just so you know, in about 20 minutes, we're going to go down for an hour because we have to shoot our morning meeting for our other television show. And we're going to have to do that, which is going to take an hour. Then we're going to come back up at 9, and then we'll 9 o'clock Pacific time, 12 Eastern, and then we will just carry it through until we get a verdict in this case. But not a verdict, excuse me, a sentence. Look, I think the judge has made his mind up. I mean, this judge has heard everything. He's heard all the testimony. He has read all the documents. It's been briefed like crazy. The judge knows what he's going to do. And unless there is a huge bombshell, I think whatever is in the judge's head when he walked up on the bench is going to be the sentence that Diddy gets. And could there be a big bombshell? No. I mean, I don't see anything. You know, all of the people who are going to talk to the judge, I think just about everyone, if not everyone, they've already testified. So their story has been told. And what Diddy says, I mean, what is he going to say? I'm sorry, worst day of my life. You know, it's what he said in the letter. And, you know, he'll repeat that in essence if he ends up speaking. So I just don't see anybody moving the needle here. And I think what this judge has already determined is what the judge is going to do. This judge did not take the stand this morning and say, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll listen to everything. This judge knows what he's going to do. Judges know. And, you know, I've done this a long time. I know a lot of judges, and they make decisions, and almost never do they change their mind. They've heard it all. So this, in a way, is more theater than law.
We did drop another poll about the video. Do you believe the video could give an impression on the judge at all? 52% said nope, tone deaf, just like Harvey said.
Yeah.
So over half the people.
The video is for the public. And I don't think it's going over well with the public. I just think the video is a huge mistake.
And we could tell that through our comments that
it's just a huge. It was cringe. It was cringy to watch it. What else are they saying?
In reference to his career, they're just saying that he needs just after all this or whenever he gets out, people aren't going to care about his career anymore. He should just go and be with his family, like the videos. Like.
Do you guys remember Michael Vick?
Oh yeah.
Michael Vick was it Atlanta Falcons?
Atlanta Falcons quarterback.
So Michael Vick was engaged in this brutal dogfighting, and people were outraged at it. And everybody said he's done. He came back as quarterback of the Falcons.
Or came back as quarterback of the Eagles.
The Eagles, yep. Excuse me, the Eagles. And everybody wrote him off. They wrote Chris Brown off. So I don't think you can do that. I don't think, you know, especially post-cancel culture. Especially post-cancel culture. Because cancel culture went so far that there's this reaction against it that you don't want to cancel people. And I'm not saying he's going to be or not going to be. I'm just saying you can't count it out.
I think this is a considerable difference between Diddy and Chris Brown. We saw the effects of Chris Brown beating Rihanna. We did not see the actual beating.
That's
and
true.
That's harder for people to let go of.
Well, hold on. I agree with you, but there's one thing. You're right, but we never saw the damage he did to Cassie. We did see the damage.
Yeah, we did. There were photos in the trial.
I mean, there were photos in the trial, but I don't believe there were photos of the beating. I think there were photos of other instances.
I can't remember specifically, but again, my point is not actually seeing.
They're both pretty bad.
They're both bad. Oh. Something.
What?
Right.
They're both horrible. But when you see what Chris Brown did to
let
Rihanna's
go of something, seeing the person, this celebrity in this case, actually do it, makes it harder to let go of.
You know what another difference is? Rihanna forgave him.
Right. Yeah.
Rihanna
Yeah.
immediately.
Rihanna forgave him.
Immediately. Remember they went jet skiing right after.
Jet skiing, they got back together a couple of times.
Yeah.
The judge has spoken and said Sean Combs objected to the characterization of Miss Ventura and Jane as victims. That is overruled. He also objects to the escorts.
Whoa.
Hold on.
That's a big deal.
It's a very big deal because on the Mann Act conviction, it's the transportation of the prostitutes to go have sex with
No, that's a huge
But they were
deal.
only victims in the RICO sense and in the sex trafficking by
No,
force, fraud, and coercion.
right, that's a
so
huge
he's going to
deal.
consider them as victims
That's
for purposes of sentencing.
a big deal.
That's
It's a very
a
big
big
deal.
deal.
And it means that his head is in the space of violence and victimhood, and that indicates or suggests to me that he will go with a stiffer sentence.
I think well, hold on. But I just want to stick to that for a sec.
There's more to that. Judge says there was Jules and Paul and Cabral, Jules, Reggie,
the sex
Rico.
workers.
As to coercion, when something is voluntarily, something's voluntarily, it is uncompelled. That is from Black's Law Dictionary. It's a broad concept. The threat to release videos and to Jane's home, that's coercion.
Okay, so this is so the judge is saying even though the jury didn't find that happened beyond a reasonable doubt, because had it, they would have been convicted of you would have been convicted of sex trafficking.
Right.
So the judge is saying even though it wasn't proven beyond a reasonable doubt, don't tell me I can't look at it. I'm going to look at it, and I consider them victims.
And for sentencing, the standard's lower for you have to prove.
He's also said, just previous to this,
I may go up on that 40 months.
He also said that in terms of the violence that happened in the acquitted conduct, so the conduct that the acquitted
all of the stuff we're talking about,
he can still consider the violence that occurred in the relationship, despite the fact he was acquitted on the violence.
Okay, well, this is the
game
core.
changer.
This is the core of the case.
And it sounds to me like he's a little bit relitigating the case.
Well, he's not relitigating.
He's saying it's a lower standard, and I can
consider the facts. It doesn't have to be reasonable doubt for sentencing.
Purposes.
And
I have up to 10 years per charge, and I'm going to look at every mitigating and aggravating factor.
It's a very.
You can't change. No, you're locked in.
No,
of course
you can go up. No, you're just not dynamic. I'm the only one on the over 5.5.
I'm going up.
Where are you going though?
I'm going to 5.
That's where I've been at 5.
I'm going to still take the over on 5.5. What about you?
I'm going to.
Charles is at acquittal.
Charles is pretty outside.
I just want to make sure everybody understands this. What the defense was saying and trying to get the judge to do was to say, look, Judge, there was a lot of testimony about violence and kidnapping, rape, all sorts of things. You can't consider that because he was acquitted on sex trafficking, and those things were brought in to prove that offense. Because the jury found him not guilty, the only thing you're left with is the Mann Act. And all the Mann Act requires for a conviction is to prove that Diddy had a sex worker transported across state lines and he paid them. That's the element of, those are the two elements of the Mann Act. You don't have to show violence, and the jury didn't find violence beyond a reasonable doubt, or else they would have found him guilty of sex trafficking. What the judge is saying is, nope. The judge is saying, I can look at what Jane and Cassie and Mia and others said about Diddy's violence. I am not bound by a verdict that requires proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I think what he's saying is, I can consider something lower than reasonable doubt.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question. If you're Diddy sitting there listening to these preliminary objections being overruled that are unfavorable to you, that he's going to consider this.
It's the core of the case.
Yes, and does it change your point of, is he going to say something and throw a Hail Mary?
Yes.
Now this changes that whole calculus because the judge is leaning clearly, quite clearly, in the direction of a stiff sentence. Now I think you throw the Hail Mary. No, I really do.
I don't think you say anything.
Well, it can't get worse. He's leaning so heavy.
You may be right. What's he going to say?
Right. What is Diddy going to say?
He's leaning.
No. Is in Diddy's head, Diddy has gotten out from under every criminal conviction.
I think they are telling him, his attorneys are going, don't say anything.
I know.
Don't say anything.
I think they are. But
can it get worse?
He can get, it can go up to 10 years for each count. So don't say anything.
So by the way,
it can get worse.
Diddy, O.J. Simpson's lawyer told him, don't talk to the police, and he did.
Yeah. Well, that was in the fog of like.
Clients can do whatever they want. That's true. Diddy can do whatever he
If
wants.
Diddy wants to
If he
stand
wants
up and
to
speak, he's
But
going to say, it's my life, I'm going to do
But
it.
who is he speaking to at this point? Just the judge? That is going to
That's
fall
the
on deaf
only
ears.
person he
If
should
the
be caring
cameras
about
were
right
on,
now.
The
it's
most
a different
unconvinced person right now. So
You got to look at the backdrop here. In 1999, Diddy was prosecuted for that shootout where Jennifer Lopez was in the car. Not guilty. He's found not guilty. There were other instances where Diddy skated. So even here, he was found not guilty on all the major charges. So in his head, he can make stuff happen.
Yes, he's filled with charisma.
Yeah, but
So
the judge has specifically cited that he can employ the enhancements relating to coercion. So we know we're at a baseline of a sentence of a.
I may go up beyond 5, but
we
think
now
I'm
have an
mistaken.
enhancement for coercion. So that sentence is getting larger.
He's talking about
the more-
enhancing for the crimes for which he was found not guilty. He's talking about enhancements
Well,
on the
no,
coercion
but you say not
aspect.
guilty. He is talking about evidence that he says he can consider and clearly believes.
Sentencing is a broadly discretionary act, and he's using all of his discretion. It sounds like he's indicating he'll
This
take it all
is
into account.
the defense right now. They better have a lot of deodorant on because they are sweating. They're sweating. This is
bad. These are bad tea leaves.
They haven't had a win. Nothing's gone their way since this has started.
None of it.
This is real.
Ruling.
We're less than an hour into it. So
I think
five.
that look,
you can't turn this shit.
The judge. Hold on. The judge is laying out all the factors the judge can consider. I don't think we want to suggest that just because the judge is saying he can consider enhancement
that he is going to
that
actually
he
apply.
is going to, and it's going to be a large
But
enhancement.
no, here's how we can. He's had multiple hearings where violence drove the judge into saying no bail.
Yeah.
Even after the conviction. See, the big one is when he was convicted, they said, Your Honor, he was convicted of a nonviolent crime. Let him out. So if the judge wasn't going to consider violence, he would have granted him bail. He didn't grant him bail, and he said it was because of violence.
Correct.
So
he's 2 months removed from
his
that feeling.
head is there.
His head is in that he is a violent person. Who doesn't
we all
deserve to be
came
on the
into
street.
this morning with a certain sort of prediction in our head about where this is going to land. I don't think the judge's words have completely overthrown.
They've moved.
Really,
it's
isn't the
suggestive
judge
of a
just
movement.
saying? Isn't the judge just clearing up because the
Yes.
defense raised it, saying you shouldn't
The
apply
judge
these
is
things.
ruling
The judge
on
is saying
motions. That's what
right,
the judge
and
is
the judge
doing.
is saying I can apply it. He's
Yes.
not saying, to your point,
That's
he's
right.
not saying
But
I'm absolutely
hold
going
on.
to.
Yeah.
That is contradicted by reality. He has not expressed remorse for transporting people for prostitution. Combs has challenged his guilty full-throatedly, including after trial.
Okay.
That's just what I said. I said he's fought tooth and nail to even throw out the 2 Mann Act convictions,
So
and
it's
that's going to weigh
the
on
lack
the
of
judge.
remorse for the convicted charges.
And no remorse is a buzzword.
Does Liam
for
have a
high
mic?
sentence.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Can you hear me?
Why?
Well, that's
No,
the
he's
old
not a mic.
prostitution that wasn't paying for sex.
Okay, so what Liam just said, apparently there was a microphone issue. We should try to fix the mic issue, by the way.
Checking.
So what Liam said was that Diddy has
Yes, it's
expressed
on.
no remorse for
Transportation.
transporting sex workers across state lines. He has not taken accountability for it.
Wow.
Well, that's the buzzword of sentencing. In every sentence you hear acceptance of responsibility as a mitigating factor.
Just
100%.
Yeah, that's true.
And if
He
you
also
don't-
said, which I think we've all talked, it makes common sense. Diddy's claim that he was paying for the the men's time and not the sex is belied by reality.
Which is
and that's what
preposterous.
every person who hires a prostitute says that. I wasn't paying for
Of
the
course.
sex, I was paying for the time. Judge ruled that
He
out.
threw that out on the acquittal motion and the new trial motion. So he's already said that. But now he's saying and throwing in his face that you have fought tooth and nail to acquit. Now, to your point,
He's saying no remorse. He said
no remorse. He's saying you fought tooth and nail even after
And by the way,
guilty verdict.
we should explain.
Was there no remorse in the letter?
If you read the letter, what his remorse was about the violence, not about the Mann Act. He never addressed the Mann Act in the letter. He expressed remorse about the violence.
And he said, I'm in this situation.
And what the judge specifically said was, you expressed no remorse about violating the Mann Act, which is true. Maybe he should have put that in the letter.
I get it.
To your point,
Yeah,
his lawyers
but the
have to
problem is,
file these motions.
the reason he couldn't is because because they've made a legal argument doesn't apply, and they want to appeal this.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But I don't like the judge holding against him that he's zealously trying. His lawyers are trying to throw out to acquit him on the 2 remaining charges. So they're not sued for malpractice.
You can argue things the alternative too, right? He's guilty, but if he is guilty, if he's not guilty, but he is guilty,
did argue in the
but all that's true. But in the letter that he wrote to the judge,
the contrite letter,
yes, that's where he should just say.
Did he not include there? Like, I'm sorry for
no, he
all
did
of
not.
my conduct.
He didn't say the Mann Act.
Could you? All right. I figure we should.
What?
There's more stuff. So they also denied. It says Mr. Combs objects to the $5,000 assessment under the statute because there are no victims. Denied.
That's okay. That's minor.
It's just more of an indication.
That's minor. I mean, look, there's a kind of a metaphor, The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him. The prosecution is winning so much right now that even though they told the judge yesterday that this was going to take hours, they may pare that down because.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. You don't have to gild the lily here.
Yeah.
We're set.
We don't need an hour of witnesses.
Right.
His mind is in
well,
that
and not
space.
just that. Sometimes when you put it out there, you don't know what you're going to get back from the other side. Why do that if the judge is already?
You don't want to take the risk of upsetting the
So now I'm thinking maybe this will be shorter than the prosecution expected.
So we think that. We also think Diddy might not address the court.
I think it makes it more likely he will address.
I agree with you. It's now Hail Mary time. The ball's rolling downhill on top of him. He's going to chuck a Hail Mary.
I think so too.
Like
no. You run the risk of it getting worse.
It can get worse. No, you're thinking logically.
Oh, my bad.
You got to get in his head.
Diddy's ego.
He is you're thinking logically.
Oh, my bad.
You got to get in his head.
Diddy's ego.
He has won. Yes. He has won just about every case he's ever.
But he hasn't. But he didn't win because he addressed the court in any of those cases.
I know, but he thinks he can do it.
Charles, he's looking at the lawyers like, these guys let me down. It's Diddy time. He puts on his superhero uniform.
The judge is going to. He might really piss off.
I'm not saying it's accurate.
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do.
You're saying he's going to overrule Agnifilo.
I think Diddy believes that he can appeal to the judge through attempts at letters, at videos that are like so produced and over animated and things like that. So we're going to see how that unfolds, okay? We're going to wrap up with TMZ here in the next 5 minutes and get into what's breaking now for Diddy. It's 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So, yeah, I think it's about noon on the Eastern time, so.
And just start speaking, which is his right. He can do it.
Yes.
It's his right, and he feels like they're letting him down. They've lost every motion.
A man who represents himself as a fool for a client, right?
You should listen to lawyers. I agree. But
not necessarily always.
These are not just rulings. I'm telling you, now you look at the bail hearing and what he did with violence.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big element of this case.
Yeah.
So what? Of the sentence. Violence is going to be a huge element of this sentencing. And he said, I can consider enhancements because of violence.
Yes.
No one's thinking 1 to 4 anymore. Huh?
So we have
yeah, I know.
I'm at 5, and now I'm thinking
me too.
So we put in our predictions. Jim, what's everybody saying?
Because everybody said before 1 to 4.
Not me.
Have you changed your mind now?
Okay, we'll update.
Have you changed your mind?
All right. Well, actually, in the comments,
yes.
a lot of people,
The majority
as you started increasing the potential sentencing, they were as well, where they're saying now it could be more than 4 years.
I think it's easily 5.
Usually the wisdom of crowds, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's easily 5.
Let's slower roll it just a little bit.
You know, I know this sounds insane. 20. And I'm going to say it.
No.
And I'm not embracing it, but I'm going to say it. What if Diddy gets up and says, Your Honor,
take that.
I now can appreciate what Donald Trump went through with the federal government.
No.
That's the smartest thing you possibly do. Play for your pardon, dude. Play for your pardon. You're losing in sentencing. Yeah. Play for the pardon.
I know what it is like to be victimized by an overzealous federal prosecutor, and that's exactly what is happening here. Donald Trump suffered from this, and I'm suffering from this now.
We need to rise up against the corrupt judicial system in this country.
You're shaking your head. It's the only play. It's the only play.
But Trump already said he's
No, but
before he appealed to him.
Trump said, "Oh, he wasn't
he said
nice to
bad
me
stuff.
during the election." He didn't slam the door. Donald Trump, if this would resonate with Donald
Trump's
Trump.
capacity for forgiveness is bottomless.
And
His vice
as
president
long as
called
you
him
appeal
Hitler,
to
said
him,
he was
right.
akin to Hitler, and he forgave him enough to have him on his ticket. If Diddy says Donald Trump is...
I'm actually serious.
And I'm hereby donating $100 million to Trump 2028. And it's over at
Well, he
that
doesn't
point.
have to say that.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's not
well,
gonna
I
say
think
that.
you go Lily.
No, he doesn't have to say that. But if
you really
he,
want to spike the football.
I'm just saying, if he says that I now understand what the president went through, blah, blah, blah.
Thumbs his nose at the judge.
Do you guys think that's crazy? Do you guys think that's crazy? I'm not saying it's right, but do you think... I mean,
Is there a
where's he
red
going to
hat
go? Is he going to say,
under the
"Oh, Your
desk?
Honor, you can't"? Who are you
Is
going to
there a
believe, me or
red
your
hat
lying
under the
eye?
desk?
He would be an idiot if you were to bring up Trump.
Why? I mean, if he's going to go for a
just
pardon,
rips the white
why
out.
not? He's coming home. He's been talking crap about Trump.
I know, but J.D. Vance called Donald Trump Hitler, and he's vice president because he got on board.
Christian will...
In fairness, he called him the American Hitler, not the German.
The family's all there, right?
All right, y'all. I had to make a taco dip out of the stuffed bell peppers meal that I made this last night for my family. Went over great. So pictures are on my Facebook, Tanisha Talks Teas, across all streaming platforms. We're wrapping up with TMZ on Diddy. We're going to keep it going, though. I don't think he's been sentenced yet, but we're going to jump into that shortly. Let's jump into it now, actually. Remember, when you come into the room, drop those teacups in the chat. Lift up your teacups at the table. Let us know where you are with Diddy. Okay. So. Well, did he receive on him? I think considering everything that he will get time will, count in as a factor. But will it make a difference in considering what the judge will give him? Y'all let us know in the chat. Drop that in the chat along with your tea. That's a live look outside the courthouse. Let's see if anybody's talking anything.
If only they would let me.
Yeah, and that's what. Well,
1 minute.
And what they do is they get another job afterwards.
I don't really. So let's keep it push in. Okay. And government is shut down. So everybody be mindful if the government is shut down as of yesterday or something like that, Monday or something. When the government shut down? Wednesday? Yes. Make sure you do your best to have your affairs of your life mattering for you. We are doing okay over here live this morning on the Diddy trial. I don't know what the hell my computer just did. I hope to God it comes back up.